In this video, we're going to look at some of the new features inside of Revit 2027. The first one we're going to look at is the new numbering feature. So accessible from the Manage ribbon tab, we can see that we have numbering, and the idea behind this is that we can create rules to number objects by. So for example, in the model that we have here, we have several levels, so level 0, 1, 2 and the roof level. And what we'd like to do is to number the rooms according to the level. So here in level 1, I'd like the rooms to be 101, 102, etc. In level 2 it would be 201, 202, and in level 0, 001, 002. So in order to do this, we can set up a rule in the numbering tool. As we're just starting with this, we have no templates currently, so first we need to create a template, and we'll call this rooms by level. So once we have that template created, we can now start to define the rules. First thing we need to do is choose or create a filter to select the rooms by. Now these are just the standard filters that we use in Revit. So from the button on the right here, we can launch the filter dialog box. And now I just need to create a new one. So we'll call this one rooms. And then this can just apply to rooms. And then because we want to select all of the rooms and number all of the rooms, we don't need to change any of the rules. We can just say OK. And then we can come and choose that rooms from the actual filter list. Next, we need the numbering parameter. So that's going to be the number parameter of the rooms naturally. And then just to check, if I click apply, then I can see now that we have 48 rooms and they're in what they call one partition, which means it will be one long sequential set of numbers. So that's not really what we want. We want it to be partitioned by level. So looking here, we have the partitioning option, so we can click edit, enable it, and now we can just find the level parameter. And then this will be the partitioning, so we'll say OK to that, and then apply once more. And we can see now that we have got still 48 elements, but now they're in 3 partitions. The number formatting, we'll just click to edit that. So we want to include the first number, and we want to use numbers as opposed to letters, and we're actually going to have it with 3 numbers. So sample value here will be 001. So we'll click OK to that. We won't use any other parameters, and then we'll just apply. And actually you can see in the background that as we've applied that, it started to change the numbering sequence in here. So what we need to do is just to make sure that for all of the different levels, we're going to get the right numbering setting. So there we can come and edit the number sequence. So we can see the different partitions, so those are the levels. And we've got the starting values, so we can see that on the level 0, they're starting at 001 and going to 20. Level 1, they're also starting at 001. So actually we'll start this at 100 and then apply. And we can see now that these will start at 100. Actually, let's start at 101, thinking about it. And then for these ones here, we'll start at 201. And now we can see that the numbers for the level 0 will be 001 to 020. Level 1 will be 101 onwards, and level 2, 201 onwards. So we can OK that. And now we just need to say OK. And we'll see that now we've got all of our rooms in level 0, starting with 0. If I go to level 1, we can see everything starts with 101, 102, etc. And then on level 2, 201, 202. So using the rule-based numbering there, when we place a room or any existing rooms, it will look at the level and then it will take the next sequential number. Now the one thing that we can't do is actually control the order of the numbers, as they will be done by a creation order. So having applied that numbering template, I can see now that the numbers are a little bit random. So 008 is the reception area here, and I'm not quite sure. Yep, 001 is the WC at the corner. So in order to change these and order them in the way that I want, unfortunately it's still a manual task and I still have to go through one at a time, changing the numbers, at which point it will then prompt an error with the already assigned, and we can swap those numbers around. So now this becomes 001 and over here becomes 008. So still quite a manual process of having to work through and assign the numbers in the order that you want them assigned. An example of how we might use this numbering with something like doors, I have another model just here. And this model is a block of flats, a block of apartments. So this is just one plan view here, and a quick look in 3D. We can see it's got quite a few apartments in here. And what we've done for each of the apartments, we've created a custom parameter called apartment reference. And for each room within the apartment, we've just assigned in the same reference. So all of these rooms know that they're in apartment 28. These rooms know they're apartment 27, etc. So looking at the numbering, first we created a filter to grab all of the doors. And again, we're using the mark parameter to number the doors. But then for the partitioning, we're using a parameter from the room here, and we're using that apartment reference parameter. And now for the actual number formatting, we're using that same apartment reference and then just a hyphen, and then in this case we're using uppercase letters. So what we can see then is once that's applied, all of the doors within each apartment will take on the apartment number, and then we'll have an A, B, C, D as we go around those apartments. So all the doors in apartment 21, 22, 23 and so forth. Again, we may need to renumber these doors just to get them in the right order, but we can see now that all of these doors here do have the correct apartment reference, and now it's not too big a task just to run around each of these doors and edit their number if we need to get them in a different order. So I think the numbering tool has a lot of potential. The only downside is not being able to control that order, and that still being a manual task, which in reality is where some of the add-ins such as our Navigate, Accelerate and Architecture for their renumbering and door numbering tools will still have the advantage. If seeing some of the new features in Revit 2027 gives you an appetite to learn more, then let Symmetry help expand your knowledge and experience with our industry-leading training courses. We have over 80 standard courses across more than 20 different products, and these will start at beginner level and go through to advanced levels. The courses are run as scheduled public courses for small groups, which ensure you get the best out of your investment. So, whether you want to learn more about collaborating within your project team, or how to coordinate across different disciplines, or maybe you're just looking to get up to speed with a new product, then Symmetry's training can help. We run all of our courses either in person at our training centres or in your office, or online virtually via our unique training platform. And if you feel like maybe you need to take multiple training courses, then we also offer our Velocity subscription, which gives you access to as many of our training courses as you need across the year. So, to help get ahead of the pack, why not inquire about a training course with Symmetry, and I'll hope to see you in the classroom soon. One of the most anticipated features in Revit 27 is the AI-driven Autodesk Assistant. So this is a tech preview and will be updated in the background, so it may change by the time you're watching this video. But essentially it's an AI-driven app to help you use Revit. So what kind of things can it do? Well, if you need to know how to do something, then ask how can I create sheets or how can I model something. But it can also help you with your model. So for example, with the view here, I can just prompt it, can you tag all the doors, windows and rooms in the current view. And then it'll go off, do its thinking and apply the tags. So a good Revit user could probably do that just as quick using the standard tools, but I haven't had to go through the interface to find where those tools are. I can just ask it to do that. Equally now we have history, and what we'll see is that history is just there. So we can repeat and rerun that. And we can also save those prompts as well. So coming back here, if we like that, we can come back to our prompt and just save that for future use. So then in our prompt library, we have some prompts that we can just reuse and don't have to retype them all the time. So for example, we have one just here. So in our door schedule, we have the mark, type mark, and we also have a parameter kobe.component.name, and we want this to be filled out with a combination of the type mark and the door mark with a hyphen in between. So this prompt here basically says, can you fill out the kobe.component name based on their type mark and parameter using a hyphen? So we can just use that prompt, and it gives us a chance to edit it if we need to, but now we can just run that. And again, it'll just run through and fill all that data out. So with something like this is actually going to be quite time consuming for us to pull all of that data together. But here we can see it's just running through. And now in due course, it's going to go and fill out all that data for us. So as it's working, the model isn't locked, so we could actually still be doing other stuff. We can see that it's working in the background just here. And once it's ready, it's going to go through and we'll start to see that data being filled out in the schedule. It's done the doors that were in the current view, so that was just in the ground floor. So we could then just say, can you repeat for doors on level 1? And actually, as we can see here, the level in this project is not named level 1, it's actually 01. However, the AI assistant has worked that out, and now it's going to work through all of the doors on that level and apply the data into their parameters. And then we can see that data's all been combined together and filled out in the schedule. And obviously, if we select the door, we can see the parameter filled out in the properties as well for all of those doors. So those are a couple of examples of how the AI assistant works, how we can create our prompts, use the history, and also save those prompts to reuse them. Those prompts actually get saved to your account, so even if you log in via a different machine, those prompts will still be there. And as a first step, I think it's a good implementation. Obviously, it's up to you now to decide what you might like it to help you with. Have a play with the prompts. Obviously, it won't edit the model, so it won't delete anything or make any major changes, but it can certainly help you look through the model, check for parameter values, color objects in, select objects, and obviously fill out data as well. So it's a good first step and something that we've obviously all been looking forward to, and something that we'll need to keep an eye on to see how it develops in the future. In Revit 2027, there's been some updates to the tag functionality. So first, now in 2027, we're able to use multi-category tags to be default tags for objects. So a multi-category tag can be useful because it can be applied to different object types. It saves us having to make lots and lots of tags. However, we always had to use the multi-category tool to be able to use it. Whereas now, if we go to tags and the loaded tags and symbols, underneath the object types in here, then we can actually come and specify a multi-category tag to be the default tag for different object types. So in this example here, I've got one that will display the mark parameter, and I can assign this to both doors and windows. So now we're using the same tag to tag both doors and windows. So now when we come and use the tag by category, turn the leader lines off, then we'll get the multi-category tag whenever we're placing it around the doors and windows here. Just to show that now, if I go and select it, we can see that's the multi-category tag, and then that's the same multi-category tag that we have on the door as well. This also means that we can use it with the tag all not tagged feature. So once again, clicking on here, we can see that the doors have their multi-category tag and also the windows as well. And if there was any other object that we wanted to apply that to, we could just select it from the drop down list. And then once we click OK, that same multi-category tag will be applied across all of those objects. So that's one improvement, and will help save having to keep making lots and lots of individual tags for doors and windows and walls and pieces of furniture and equipment. Something else that's changed with tags is the ability to control the leader line. What we're seeing here in this view is the current up to Revit 26 functionality, where the leader line will just find the middle of the tag. So when we have multiple lines, or if we have objects that are controlled by visibility, then it's just sort of finding the middle of that tag. So what we're able to do now is, if I select one of these tags and we edit the family, well, we can actually select the individual parts. So this second part of the tag here, the second label that makes up the multi-line part, and we can actually exclude this from the leader outline. So just by ticking the box here, then this part of the tag will no longer be considered for the outline, and only this front part will be. So if I load that back in and overwrite it, and then what we'll see, so we need to tidy these up a bit now, but we can see that the tags all come from the middle of that first line of text, and it's ignoring the second part just here. Now, the only downside to that, obviously, is if the tag comes from the other side, it's going to ignore this part of the text and just come from the first label. So what we are able to do is to actually use some geometry to control it. So coming back to the Create tab here, we can just draw some lines in. So let's go draw ourselves a rectangle, and we'll draw it to around about here. And now what we can do is, we've got those lines drawn, we can use those for the leader, so we won't exclude those, but we can also include them so that the leaders will snap to these lines. So let's switch that on. Now, I don't actually want to see the lines on my tag, so I can also make those invisible as well. And what we will do then is take this first part of the label here, and we'll exclude this also from the leader line. So the leader line now, we'll be using these lines, and we can just adjust those exactly as we need them. And now if we load this in, again overwrite it, we can see now that the tag is using those lines even though the lines are invisible. So on this side here we can see it coming through, and it's still working on this side as well. An extra part of the functionality now is also we can unclip the leader line. So we obviously have attached and free leader lines here, and we can just adjust that within the canvas now, and then we get these tools where we can just drag the actual leader position around to suit. So even though it's not going to be perfect for every instance just here, we can come and drag these around and just have them unclipped, which will make it again a little bit easier for getting everything lined up and for tidying up all of the drawings. So a small piece of functionality, but one that's going to make it much easier for us to get professional, clean looking drawings where all of the text, tags and leader lines are all nicely aligned. In Revit 2027, the Accelerated Graphics Tech Preview has been updated to support more features. Now, one of the ones that's really worth having a look at is in 3D. If we enable the accelerated graphics here, then if we then go and enable the section box in the 3D view, it will now start to section live as we drag the box. And then this makes this a much easier tool to work with. And really this is what we wanted Revit to be in the first instance, where we can see the section happening live. And it makes it a lot easier for us then to get that section line exactly as we need it. So one advantage, it's still a tech preview, so not everything is supported. So for example, still no shadows in the view, but for sectioning 3D views, it's definitely worthwhile looking at the accelerated graphics preview.